to the Sheila Francis. The one and only.
Mix up the holiday vibes with Campari Grapefruit.
We're not in your heart. Easy people.
The time by Campari is.
It is now 12:28.
Hip hip hooray! So, how old are you now, Misha?
I'm 27.
Again? Okay, fine. Cheers to 27 again.
We want to help you mark every milestone. Celebrate the joy of living. Cheers to the best in life. Drink and live responsibly. A message from Red Stripe, part of the Heineken Company.
Ocherius, anybody that look cheap on a Ocherius, well, go down to the Blue Store, 32 Main Street, Sears Plaza. Ocherius, them have all type of phone. Android under $8,000, and Banga phone now under $3,000. Samsung, Alcatel, LG, Blue phones, and many more Android phones. So if you want cheap Android phone under $8,000, and Banga phone now under $3,000, go on quick while them have the things that in stock at 32 Main Street, Sears Plaza. Or call them at 379-0199.
Johnson and Johnson, that are one and done. AstraZeneca, Pfizer, we know that them come, and we know that them good. Now you know how, let's get things back to normal. No matter wait and see, what for your vaccine, be the hero beyond me. No matter wait and see, who be separate, even when you kill the sea. No matter wait and see, what for your vaccine, no need for no hesitancy. No matter wait and see, what for your vaccine, protect you, protect we.
Digicel, the winner circle for the second year running. This time, walking away with the award for the biggest, fastest mobile network, best mobile coverage, and fastest home fiber internet. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Digicel.
Didn't catch that? It's just the truth. Digicel is the fastest LTE and home fiber internet in Jamaica, giving coverage and speeds you can rely on over and over again. Digicel, better together.
You know, since the COVID still a keep, you know, stack up on your cleaning products. Yes, you may talk. Go and check out Cleaners, the brand. Them have everything you need. Them sell bleach, antiseptic liquid, hand soap, hand sanitizer, cream cleaner, disinfectant spray, and much more. Distributed by GI Distributors Limited in supermarkets island-wide. Cleaners, the brand. Them have everything you need.
Businesses, large and small, should be confident that the exchange they need is just a call away. Ready when you are. FX Trader is changing the face of foreign exchange. Visit us at over 35 branches island-wide. Online or call 888-FX Trade 398-7233.
This is a line from Lucy. The greatest mackerel of female #1 from the start. Me and it will never part.
If I one thing we love about Grace Mackerel is that the stock's rich in quality. Trish and Papi said that.
Grace Mackerel is the only one in my book that goes with anything. Take it from me. Maureen is here today.
Grace Mackerel is the only one with all of its stretch. It is still full of flavor. Tell them black to Lionel Town says so.
Grace Mackerel is the one and only winner.
Celebrating 100 years of Grace Kennedy.
Schoolboy football is back. The exciting 2021 season of the Money in the Costa Cup competitions hit the spot once again. This time at special venues right across the island. Jamaica College and Clarendon College are all set to defend their Money and the Costa Cup titles respectively.
Look about final midfield.
So to Walker Cup winners St. Catherine High, Ben Francis Cup winners BB Coke, and the Champions Cup winners Kingston College. And the roundup is on the Sporting Choice IBFM.
IBFM with luck.
Join us Mondays to Fridays in Sports in live at 5:45 and Saturdays at 5:55 p.m. for a comprehensive wrap, results, standings, interviews, and all the info you need on the competitions. It's all courtesy of Digicel. Download the Sportsmax app today and enjoy live schoolboy football with dedicated Sportsmax data from a Digicel Prime bundle. Schoolboy football roundup on the Sporting Choice IRA FM.
Hello.
It's about that time. The time is finally here. Jeez. Right now it's all about season 4 of Road to Success, The Journey. Right now we're gearing up to Journey with founding director of Ellis International, actor, producer and comedian Ian "IT" Ellis.
Hey, upset her. See how upset her? Score outside. On and on and on and on. I'm a winner. You know that I'm a winner. I want to know. I'm on the surface. Right.
Born and raised in Trenchtown, Ian "IT" Ellis is an actor, comedian, and successful businessman. He is one part of the popular Jamaican comedy duo IT and Fancy Cat, leaving a trail of laughter in performances at major venues all over Jamaica, the Caribbean, North America, and the UK. IT Ellis has stamped his mark on television as a performer and an executive producer in Jamaica's longest-running sketch comedy, the IT and Fancy Cat Show.
I'm a walking W, learn from the else. Turn them in a medal in a trophy and bells. Every day you see me with them on the next film. Break records like we cracking their shells. And every single...
He has made on-screen appearances as an actor in 2 Jamaican feature films, Destiny and It's a Family Affair, as well as the recent Jamaican sitcom Bigger Boss. IT Ellis, who is now a Christian, holds a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of the West Indies, Mona campus. Today on the Road to Success, we are honored that IT was able to take time out of his busy schedule to take us on his journey. IT, thank you so much for agreeing to share your journey, and welcome to the airwaves of IRI FM. What? No, absolutely. No, absolutely. And we're really glad that you're able to join. But let's kick things off, IT, with the foundation. Describe the household you grew up in Trenchtown, and the immediate influences you had around you as a child. Mm-hmm. Wash belly, yes.
Experience, there are many and varied influences, but I think as I grew up and while I was growing up, my parents, I must say now, because my stepfather was integral in how I saw myself, how I saw myself growing up. They insisted that I stay inside. I was the kind of child who was on the road for much of my growing up, until perhaps my early teens when I discovered football. So my influences were the footballers, the boys town, the musicians, because I know I come from Trenchtown, so and also the emphasis on education that my mother, she instilled on me, and my stepfather tried to also support and endorse. That was my early influence and growing up in Trenchtown.
Can you share a life lesson that you have received from your mom and your stepdad, something that still resonates with you in your adult years?
Oh, wow. I talk about it ever so often on so many different platforms whenever I get a chance to share, because I was wondering why it was so important for me to succeed educationally, because I was part of a family who, for example, when I took the GSAT, I mean, common entrance. I joke about it often.
Right?
At the time, I didn't know the magnitude of succeeding in the exam. My name would come in the newspaper. My mother, she celebrated a celebration I share all the time. She'd jump up and down, yes, him pass. And I never forget that moment to see how she celebrated my earliest success in an examination, because that's the primary school exam to take you into high school.
High school.
Of course, the entire third street knew about it, because she took the newspapers to walk up and down and to show everybody. Because everybody knows the ITY pass. Yes, him pass. My older sister told me the other day, she was saying to her at one point, you can't put down the paper now, you know. You can't put down the paper now. You know, she walk around with it too. So I remember that as
pride and joy.
Point. Yeah, the pride and joy she expressed. Promise me a watch. So when I pass, I get a watch. I know I don't get the watch. But, you know, I realized it wasn't about the watch. It was about inspiring me, motivating me to do well. And when I realized I was the last child, only child to succeed in the examinations. And I followed two siblings who at the time were not very literate, and I'm putting it nicely, you know? So I wondered how I was able to read and succeed. So it's all a mystery to me. But suffice to say, that was a memory that I always share, just to see how she valued education. That's why when I went to university way later, I'm sorry she wasn't around to see the same look of black boy.
To see you achieve, yeah.
Oh my God, you know?
And we're going to get to your university years later on. We're going to get to your university years later on. But I know you said that you don't know what it was that kept you latched on to education and excelling the way you did. But maybe if you take us back into the classroom of Ian Ellis, what were you like in your early years in school? How would you describe Ian Ellis, the student?
Well, I mean, I was very playful, always playing, liked words. I was a top speller in the spelling bee competition. Yes. I came. No, I was a top speller in the entire school, so much so that I was assigned to enter the spelling bee competition, which I came third island wide. You know, my picture came in the papers again. Yeah, so
I walk around with the paper again.
Yes, you know, I have an affinity with words. So I wasn't the mathematician. You know, I like to write and spell. So I'm very playful. So my early years, that's what I remember. I mean, I'm very artistic, because when there was the school plays, I would be the lead actor in the roles, you know, playing around. And, you know, so the arts, I was very interested in. And sports, I was interested in football, because my earliest football exploits were a play for Boys Town minor league football. I was under 16. So the first time I was allowed to go, you know, was minor league football. So as a youngster, so it was sports, it was words, you know, playful, center of attention, class clown, you know, everybody know, you know, especially from high school.
Going on bubbly.
Yes, you know.
But you know what, being an Ellis though is almost synonymous with the arts and entertainment in some form. I mean, connect the dots for us, for our listeners, and so we can get some insights as to the talented family that you're from.
Yes. And I discovered that later on as I grew up, that, you know, I'm a part of a entertainment family. My aunt Hortense is the first woman Jamaican to record in Jamaica years ago. Of course, her brother, my uncle Alton Ellis, is well known.
Wow.
And my father, Leslie Ellis, he sang background vocals with Alton. I would joke about that often on stage too. When I discovered that my father is a singer, I don't know why I couldn't sing, because when Alton said, "Girl, I've got your day," my father said, so I was a part of that. You know, of course, my brother, Black Ellis, is a comedian. I have brothers who are musicians. I mean, singers. Rosa Rose, who acts in the ITY and Fanscat show, is Alton Ellis' first son, first child. He's a singer. His brothers, Christopher Ellis. I mean, loads of singers, my cousins, you know. So I'm really from that entertainment background. Whether you're, I think myself and Black are perhaps are the only professional comedians. Let me say professional because everybody, you know, is a joke of some sort. Perhaps, you know, some of them, Rosa, they're just discovering that he's such a natural talent, a natural comic also. So, yes, so growing up, I was really heavily influenced when I discovered that I'm from this entertainment background. So that could help me explain why my interests were there in the, I like to impersonate everybody. I impersonate my mother, my stepfather, everybody around me. I mean, that's where it started for me, you know? So that is my introduction and discovery of who I am and my Ellis circle and circle of talents.
Now, here it is. At what point? Yeah, yes, you figure out that you have a knack for making people laugh, but who or what actually inspired you to turn this passion into a paycheck?
Well, I must say, Blacker Ellis, my older brother, was way ahead in terms of him being a trained theatre artist, went to Edna Manley College, and of course, he was a part of a duo at the time, Bello and Blacker. And those were my early influences in comedy specifically. But whilst I was in school, I realized, you know, I was a class clown. I was the center of attention, making jokes and singing, beating the desks, trying to DJ, trying to sing, trying everything. You know, so, but I must say my earliest influence for comedy was my brother. You know, then I discovered, along with Fancy Cat, that we could do this thing. We tried to, our first performance was a show that Blacker Ellis at Comedy Club put on by Claudette Pius and Miss Upton at the time, Dorothy Cunningham, and we were just told we were allowed to audition. My brother was on the show and he was Blacker Ellis in concert, and I was invited to an audition as an opening act. Same time, Fancy Cat called me today and I said, hey, I'm going to be an opening act, you know. He come and he came. Of course, you know, we were childhood friends and Boys Town kind of thing, the Trench Town. And he came and we just sang as the audition to Claudia Pat, and she said, boy, I'm gonna try with you, you know? And that was it. So it was our first time performing anyway. So we were never, we didn't intend to do comedy. We intended to do DJing. Girl, your pants, so they look good. Exam, you have to give you a sticky. You not get wrong, but
hey.
They look good. Exam, sticky. But when I sang, they laughed. And when fans got saw me, you know, so I realized over time, say, hey, maybe it's not the music, it's something else. So we started to add a joke. So every performance we started to add a joke. So we were performing like on a weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday at a club called The Tachi on Shotwood in Kingston. Opening up for Blacker Ellis, you know, Blacker Ellis in concert. And every night we had a joke or two. And that was when it began for us, you know. And that was when we discovered comedy. That's when we discovered that maybe our ability, you know, to make people laugh was really natural. Really, really natural at the time. And in our chemistry together was also something that we, even now today, we are still rediscovering the kind of chemistry that we have. So that's of my early years, of course, with comedy and discovering that, you know, we can make people laugh.
No, I want to know, Blacker, what did mommy really think of this? Because here it is, she's putting the emphasis on education, and then, you know, our son want to become artist and sing and do comedy to make people laugh. What was that conversation like, and how did she take that?
Well, you know, at the time my mother was around, it was mostly, the distractions were mostly sports and not entertainment as yet. Because it's interesting, at the time I used to mimic Marley and Peter Tosh and used to have my own radio show, Kishima. So I would be the announcer and I would interview guests and I would play all the voices and things. That's what she observed at the time. But because maybe she thought it was just a hobby or just a, you know, that's my way of entertaining myself. I wasn't discouraged, to be honest. I was discouraged. She allowed me to be that. But that was where the seeds were planted, is who I was going to be and who I am today. So what she was discouraging me from it was going out and playing football. I know it's a Garrison community, strength on it's Rima, so she was very careful. She don't want me to go out there and to get in the wrong company and to lose. I think when I reflect, I say, wow, if I'm the last child, the only child to pass common entrance, that means after seven children, she's saying, hey, this is the last opportunity I have, So she really put a lot of emphasis on that. So I wasn't discouraged from those early years by her from entertainment. A matter of fact, is after when she passed, I really began to get really popular. So she never got a chance to see me. She never got a chance to see me on TV.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that really is my saddest part because sometimes it's a tearjerker for me to reminisce. I said, "Whoa, she was around to see the look of black boy."
Sure.
She always, people always call you the look of black boy. So I remember that, So, but trust me though, I know she would support 100%. She would endorse, whatever I was doing. Trust me, man, because the kind of love that she showed me and expressed. My sister would say, "You are the Black Prince." It's like you're alone. I know she's listening.
So you're confirming for us then that there is a lot of truth to the last child being the wash belly, because being the first child for my mom, I can't relate to what you talking about now, Right. So you will have to tell us there is a lot of truth to the wash belly, enough special treatment.
Well, maybe it is. If we try and collect the data, we might certainly find that there is some truth to how parents deal with the wash belly, the last child, Really, I must say, whenever I perform and I ask, hey, are there any wash bellies there? I would get similar experience. Yeah, when them say we had one who get a lot of attention, we had a spot. It's so weird. But the first child though, is the child we would think get all the attention because the first trip around the parent, in the parenting experience. So we would think that parents would give all letters to the first child, but there's something about the wash bellies I can't really explain.
Right. Now here it is. You got that opportunity through your older brother, where you and Fancy Cat got a chance to perform, and you ultimately got a foot in the door. Do you find that because you had an older brother in the same sector that you're trying to get into, that it provided you somewhat with a cushion, or was it still equally challenging because you had to prove yourself that you are good enough to stay in the space that you wanted to be in?
I think more so it was challenging because remember there was a standard already set by Bello and Blacker. And it couldn't be the case that, I am getting the opportunity because, I am Blacker's brother. I had to prove if I had any ounce of talent harder than if he wasn't there, because now they are measuring us against the standard already set, measuring me against, is it just because? So we had to work 10 times harder, I believe. But the truth is, we weren't worried about trying to prove a point. We were just enjoying ourselves. We were just being natural and engaging and entertaining. I mean, we explored all the different art forms that we perform. So I don't think those pressures or that pressure affected me. Everybody gets some kind of support or help or guidance in their career. Every single artist you interview going to tell you about who were their influence or who got guidance or who lend a helping hand when they were starting. I just saw him to be my brother at the time. So, and of course, he got a helping hand from his lecturer on a fourth split. He would share with you all the time because she was saying, hey, everybody's doing serious stuff. Do some comedy for it. People want to laugh. That's what how he started. And, we started, we didn't plan to, we weren't told to make people laugh. We want to be DJs, dance all DJs. I used to listen to Lieutenant Stitch at the time, come right up, and people wonder why I imitate Bounty Killer so often. Because that was what we wanted to be and do. But hey, people say, it's comedy because they're laughing. So, I think to answer the question, yes, I think it was harder for us to prove that we have any kind of talent. I had to prove, because the pressure was on me even much more as a Ellis, who's from an immense talented family. So I think the pressure was on, but I wasn't thinking about the pressure. I was just having fun and enjoying myself.
Having fun,
yes. And that's perhaps it's the one thing I'd say early in this interview. That don't focus out, focus in. You know, when you focus out, you might be distracted. You might be tempted to compare yourselves with others and don't really see your own self-worth. Focus in, have fun, discover who you really are, and that through that self-discovery, then you get to mastery. Through self-discovery, you get to mastery. Not through comparing yourself to others. And don't worry about it, whether it be siblings or friends or, just focus in and develop those skills, and trust me, you'll be amazed.
Those are some wise words. I really hope somebody penned that down just now, because that is a gem right there. As you mentioned, impersonating and doing impressions, whether it is Bounty Killer, Bob Marley, or Renata Adams. I mean, when you do a voice impersonation, it is as if you have the person's vocal cords stored. So I want to just break it down a little bit for us, like, when you're in that zone and you're about to do an impersonation, do you take months practicing, or how exactly are you able to nail it the way you do, and the accuracy, even the mannerisms you have down to a T?
Yeah. It's observation. One of the tenets of comedy and stand-up comedy is observation. You have to observe carefully. And then if by observing it meet a particular talent, that you have a skill set, then I just buck up as the dancehall artist would have said, I discovered the knack by accident, because I said before, when I was growing up, we used to imitate everybody. Because I'm from a family of persons who stutter, but they stutter very differently. Because my brother Blacker Ellis, he stutters, but he stutters very differently. He stutters with speed. And no, don't say that, don't say that. Why you gonna? I never mentioned. You never mentioned the point. So he would stutter like that. But then my father, who was the chief stutterer, would stutter very differently. Very different. Then I have another brother who looks so much like Blacker Aston Ellis, who stutter too, but he's more, controlled, but you can hear the struggle. My brother, some love you, my brother, love you. Then I have a brother who was not my father's child. Listen now, he's not my father's child. My mother's is not Ellis, he's the second, but my older brother who stutters, but it's very different. IT.
Wow.
Come on, man. You see how they upon road to success, and you never tell me. Someone could have who need. That's so different. So it's observing them all day around me. Observe, and then I naturally try to reproduce. So when I talk and I share stories about them, I automatically talk like them. So that was the groundwork for me to began to look around in the entertainers and things. I was doing a show years ago, me and Fanscat, and we were setting up the stage, and they were playing some Marley, and I just listened to his Marley's interview. I was like, yeah, right now. And when I said yeah, right now, Fanscat started to interview me. So what about Marley? We say, well, then, and she and I say, it's irate, Really, and I say, I say love, love is natural, When you read in the war, really everyone knows that I love Rita, and Cindy too, what I mean, in theory. So I listen to the interviews and it just start to come. It start to come. So, that's, I wouldn't say I take months to do them. I listen and observe the mannerism, the inflection, the intonation, and the voices, and they would come. I remember years ago we had SSP Lewis. I don't even remember SSP Lewis. He was a traffic cop,
Yes.
I am telling you the Mandela Highway is very slippery. Slippery like
I remember.
And if you are, and he was a different kind, and he was so different from Adams. Adams was a much more controlled kind of, this is Renito, they card over Valentino Adams. And I am here to say the criminals are dying for me to return. And when I return, the criminals. So it was in the beginning, so it shall be in the end. And his pronunciation of Tivoli was Tivali. Very different from Desmond McKenzie, our Honorable Minister. So, people are not cognizant of Tivoli and what we are doing in the KSAC. And so there are so many. So I listened to them and the different sounds would come. And listen, one of the very earliest one I used to do was Eddie Fitzroy. She's a precious. Come on.
IT. On that note, we're going to go quickly. We're going to run quickly to Cashpot. And when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. So listen up, your top draw dollars. Pick 2, pick 3, hot pick, and Cashpot lunchtime draws up next.
When we use Island Fresh, it make my skin feel so much smoother. So if you want to feel better and smell fresher, use Island Fresh with aloe vera.
Manufactured by Island Products, 934-0666.
The time is...
It is now 1 o'clock. We're standing by, so listen up. Your top draw dollars. Pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and Cashpot lunchtime draws up next.
The official live drawing of the Supreme Ventures Lottery Games. This could be your lucky day. Get your tickets out and let the games begin.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, January 20, 2022. I'm Lisa and welcome to this afternoon's live Supreme Ventures game draw. Now, before we begin, here's a quick look at the winning and mid-morning numbers. And remember, all Supreme Ventures live draws are supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by the independent auditing firm PwC. And now let's put some money in your top draw. This afternoon's jackpot is $600,000. Here are your winning numbers and good luck. The first winning top draw number for this afternoon is 14. Your second winning number is 11. Following 11, we have number 19. And if you want to win the jackpot of $600,000, you're going to need 18. The final winning top draw number is 1. And now let's pick your play with our dollars game. I hope you're feeling lucky. Your winning dollars numbers are coming right down. And starting off dollars for this afternoon is lucky number 7. Following closely, we have 8. And we're still counting to number 9. Your fourth winning dollars number is 20. And 25 is next. Making its way down, we have number 21. Right behind 21 is 19. Now your next winning dollars number for this afternoon is 31. And here comes 4. Next up, what will it be? We have ball 28. 18 follows, and ending dollars for this afternoon is number 34. And now for some easy winnings with our Pick 2 game, so here goes. Your winning Pick 2 numbers are coming right up, so get those tickets out. And your first winning Pick 2 number for this afternoon is 30. Your second winning Pick 2 number is lucky number 7. So again, 30 and 7 are your winning Pick 2 numbers. And Mega Pick is here to stay. Now you can continue to mega for bigger winnings with Pick 3 and Pick 4. So stay tuned. 1 Mega Ball draw will be done for Pick 3, Pick 4, Hot Pick, and Cash Pot. Now up next, you can play 3 ways. It's Pick 3. Your first winning Pick 3 number is number 4. Your second winning Pick 3 number is also 4. And the third and final winning Pick 3 number is 9. So again, 4, 4, and 9 are your winning Pick 3 numbers. Now let's top the winnings with Pick 4. This afternoon's first winning Pick 4 number is 0. Your second winning Pick 4 number is number 2. Here comes the third winning number. What will it be? That's number 1. And finally, we have lucky number 3. So again, your winning pick 4 numbers are 0, 2, 1, and 3. Now it's easy for win, so let's heat things up with hot pick. Here we go. And this afternoon's winning hot pick number is number 6. Congratulations to all hot pick winners. Again, your winning number is 6. And Cashpot Money Trainer Run. Every week is a mystery prize, and this week you can win $285 for every $10 winning Cashpot bet. So board the train and collect your winnings. Let's get ready to play our Cashpot game for Thursday, January 20, 2022. Now you get to play it, but can you win it? Get ready to be a big Cashpot winner. And let's see what this afternoon's winning Cashpot number will be. Good luck. And this afternoon's winning Cashpot number is 10. Congratulations to all Cashpot winners. Again, your winning number is 10. It's now time for some mega winnings. Good luck once more. And here it comes. What will it be? And a white ball was selected. So go mega 6 times per day for more chances to win big. So again, the winning cash pot number is 10. The lucky mark is small house. And a white ball was selected for pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pots. Now let's take a look at this afternoon's winning numbers. And of course, congratulations to everyone who won. And please join us again at 3 p.m. for more games you love to play. I'm Lisa. Be kind to one another and have a supreme afternoon.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
That was the lunchtime top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot draws. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 3 p.m. for another chance to win in hot pick and cash pot special pot draws. Now it is back to Road to Success, the journey. We're journeying with IT Ellis. Now, IT, before we went to the cash pot break, you were talking to us about the different impersonations and how you do it. And you have impersonated so many persons. I mean, from politicians to entertainers to popular law enforcement officials. Your skits poke fun at many persons and situations. Have you ever had a cease and desist or any sort of negative feedback, or somebody felt like, boy, them can't take a joke and, stop it?
I mean, to be honest, we've had a fair run. I mean, there are some moments. I remember one time when we were doing, when we had people thought it was the COVID-19 scare. We did a video. I don't know if you know it. I did
Yes, I've seen it. Activity.
Remember when we were shooting that, we had persons doing all kind of manner of things, push up an activity because they were fearful that they were too close to the person. Mm-hmm. When they discovered that we were joking, downtown, the man would say, "Yo, are you alone can't do them things, Nobody can come try them to ITY fan ticket. Alone can come try them things, I'm like, whoa, but because he was upset that he was being ridiculed. But whilst he was upset, he was telling me that I'm allowed. He's giving me permission
to do it. Wow.
To do it. I remember a ding dong saying to us one time, "What not gonna do me? What? But of course, there are some persons who would call us. I remember we had done some with the law enforcement, with the dons, And people were saying, be careful, kind of thing. People were saying, be careful. But the truth be told is that we did politicians from both sides, the PMP, the JLP. So we were not sparing anybody and everybody. So even though there were persons saying, be careful, the truth is here we are. People got it. They realize that we are joking. The intention is humor. It's never to offend anybody. It's just to really find moments where we can really truly laugh at ourselves as Jamaicans. And that's why we went into the streets. One of our most popular thing that we did was the how would you react? We would go on the street and we poke fun through a hidden camera. Because those were persons in there in the natural settings. So, yes, there are persons who would call and say, be careful. But the truth is, we have never had a cease and desist where we were told not to do it. We did Bunty, we did Bean. First time we were seeing Bunty Killer, I tell you, first time we were seeing Bunty Killer, I was saying, what is he going to say?
Yeah. What was that conversation?
you know what was this? And we were in a big show at New Kingston. It was Shaggy. The road was blocked and Bunty Killer was on the show and we were backstage. It was the first time now since the popular video we were seeing him. So I mean, I was like, do we say hi? You know, kind of say you can't go there and say hi, you know. But then he saw us and him come and just the big finger and go so.
Youth.
He never said nothing and just go so. So I say, all right, that's it. You know what I mean?
That's it. Stamp of approval.
Yeah, we're good. You know what I mean? And trust me, we would see him in different places. And I would ask people around him too how he feels. And remember, we weren't the only one mimicking Bunty Killer. There was twins of twins in Bunty Killer too. But for somehow, our content is family friendly because it's on TV. So it has to be above board. You know what I mean? So I think we got the pass. You are allowed to do it. You know what I mean?
That's just awesome.
We kind of poke him too hard. Beam say, yo, look here, man, you're poor. You know? Of course, I can hear popcorn saying, why? When I say, when I say,
right.
The point is, it's poking fun at, you know?
Yes, we totally get it.
Yes. After that, there were moments people say, hey, we kind of went to the edge. Remember the general manager at the time was saying, you guys are always on the edge. Just don't go over. Just don't go over. You know?
No, in 2004, IT, three brothers came together and formed Ellis International Limited.
Yes.
Take us back to this period on your journey to success, and what life lesson did you learn in this moment now, taking on this entrepreneurial journey?
Wow, jump. J-U-M-P, jump. Take a leap. Because I was in a comfortable job working for Chris Blackwell, as I shared with you earlier. And of course, I was working with Strawberry Hill. At the time, my brother, he was beginning to explore theatrical productions independent of anybody, not working for anybody. So he kept inviting me to be a part of it. Himself, Blacker, and my other brother, Aston Ellis, who's a musician living in the States. And I mean, for a year, I was being invited to come and, let us do this. Let us start the company. And I remember at the time, it was tough because I said jump, because when we needed to start and we needed to pay for the theatrical space, because truly that we could rehearse, Blacker had the know-how to get the scripts prepared and get the artists prepared, but then now we need the capital to rent the space to put it on. I remember I share the story so often that at the time I had my daughter's school fee, my older daughter, and I was saying, if I pay the school fee, then she can stay in class. If I don't, then the embarrassment for her and for us.
Wow.
But then I had to decide whether I pay the school fee for her or pay the rent for the theater and jump and take a chance. Of course, whenever I share the story, she was like, oh, Dallas, what did you do? And I said, it's obvious what I did. It's obvious what I did. I paid for the theater rental, so we could have the play, Things Are Going, for our first theatrical production. So that is how it got started. Bootstrapping, as the business students wouldn't learn when they study, is what we do. We depend on our own resources to get started. So myself and my brothers, we pool our talents and our connections to really get the company started. And that same year, 2004, we were busy doing crack up, at backyard of Uptown every last Wednesday. At the end of that year, we began what is now known as Christmas Comedy Cook-Up, an annual event. Only it was not held for the very first time this December because of the regulation. But I mean, talking about a 17-year running live comedy show that features the top comics in the country, outside the country, in the Caribbean space, in North America, every single year. So that's, in a nutshell, what the company was about. And of course, along the way, the IT and Fancy Girl show was developed and produced. So, yeah.
And, through even, it's brilliant. I mean, you took that leap. It was a gamble with your daughter's school fee. Yes. And like you said, you jumped. But through Ellis International, you have provided employment to numerous entertainment industry professionals and facilitated the launch of several careers. Me not done yet, It is also a platform where you have created generational wealth for your family.
Yes,
Talk to us about some of the things that Jamaicans who are desirous of creating generational wealth to take into consideration to take that jump then for using your term?
Own your stuff. I tell my daughters every day, own your stuff. That's something that if you don't learn it from the very beginning, when you discover it, it might be a little challenging. You might have lost some ground. So that was the genesis of our start. So we began to produce our own shows, act in them, and be all about it. So we were the executive producer. I was executive producer and the performer, you know. So a lot of persons don't know that I was, you know, instrumental in behind the camera for the ITY Fantasy show as much as I was, perhaps more so behind the camera than I was in front of the camera. And of course, in front of the camera, you see me play numerous. Sometimes when I watch the skits, I'm saying, I did that. I don't even remember some of the characters I play. I can't keep track of them. It's over 400 skits and anecdotes we have done over a decade. So you can just imagine. So the gem, the advice, the sharing, I would say, is own your stuff, because when you own your stuff, then that's when you create generational wealth. When you own your stuff, then you can manipulate, exploit the intellectual property later on, way down, particularly for content development, you know, because when you own yourself, then you can on a platform anywhere. Now, if we didn't own our stuff, we wouldn't be able to exploit what's happening with the social media, YouTube, Facebook, IG. All these are platforms where you can monetize your own content, you know.
On that note, IT, we're going to go for a quick time signal and then come back to the point about owning your stuff, which is crucial.
With a CLK mortgage, home ownership is a breeze. Get rates as low as 6.99% and up to 40 years to repay. The time by CLK is...
It is now 1:15. We're on the road to success with IT Ellis. So you're talking about owning your stuff, and you also mentioned a lot of what you were doing in the moment, because as a comedian, your job, you know, is to make people laugh through the creation of exciting, fun content. But then as the managing director of Ellis International, you have to focus on the serious operation of running a business. What were some of the challenges that you experienced in pursuit of finding that perfect balance?
Let me tell you, anybody locally who is into or attempt to get their productions done and out, showcased, will discover that a challenging thing to get support, partnership, financial support, because oftentimes you have to tell them, we don't have the capital to get going, because they're very expensive undertaking to get all the videography, the cameras, the audio engineers together, the costumes, the script writers, the actors, the locations, you know, and to record and go into post-production with editing. It's a task. So it's very difficult to do it without capital. You know, now people are doing it a little easier now with their phones. You know, when we started, it wasn't about phones. We had to get proper cameras and get, you know,
lighting,
technical team, lighting, and all those things. You know, makeup. Yes, the MUAs. What about us? Yes, all those things, particularly makeup. For me, I played Michael Jackson and Bob Marley in a scene. That's two different makeup that artists had to do, because the Bob Marley shade and Michael Jackson are two different shades.
Two different shades, yeah.
They had to remove Michael Jackson to put on Bob Marley, and I was playing both characters in it. So people understand, you know. So it's a lot of work, and I tell you, it's important for us to recognize that the work before the camera and after camera is so much, you know. So the thing is, we were challenged because oftentimes the funding didn't come easy. It was very difficult to find the funding, and perhaps people think it was easy. But it was rough, months, stand up on months, years. I mean, people don't know that the ITY Fantasy show came out in for the first time.
2008.
2 years, 2008. It took us 2 years to get it going. We had some challenges too, because even our earliest partners, we had some challenges too. But we had to stick to it, keep pursuing it. And sometimes when that's why I always say, that boy, if my fans get with that, boy, if I just forget this, boy, this would not mean that. I kept pressing. I'm a very passionate person, as you can perhaps tell by how I express myself. So I kept going, kept pushing, kept pressing, kept seeking. And that is the hardest part. And sometimes we lose. Sometimes there were failures along the way. I mean, remember, ITY Fantasy Show, hit was the most popular thing. Then it became the most criticized thing because, boy, this Sunday never so nice. We never laughed this week. And so we were challenged every time to keep it going. Sometimes we decided to...
How did you deal with those criticisms, though? Because everything is so public and personal, and you're as good as your last performance.
Yes, tough. I mean, I tell you, year 5, I said, that's it. We're done. Too many challenges. People have come on and I try to say them own our stuff. You know, I mean, we had challenges that we had to deal with at the time too, you know. So when we create our thing them from scratch, you know what I mean? And also when people began to say, boy, this never so funny, bro. We say like, it's like an artist doing an album. You will never, if an album have 14 songs, you'll never have 14 hit songs. Maybe Michael Jackson did what? 10 on Thriller years ago, you have a number 1 song that carries the album, you know? So we will always try to ensure that there's a skit that's really funny. And then we add the other one that's okay, you know? It was very difficult. Sometimes we have some episode where everything was just funny. So and humor is very hard because once a joke, that's it. You can't get the same joke again. So remember, when you do a skit, we can't repeat the skit. We cannot do that skit again forever and ever. That's it. We have to move to a different scene or a different scenario also. So it was tough and we were discouraged off. I remember sometimes we go on the word and say, all right, that's it. People that can't, you know.
But you know, watching you on Fancy Cat, that is not something that the public would get, you know, like that type of frustration. So take us to that sort of build that you have though, to dig deep and still find that place in your heart to go on stage and understand the essence, lights, camera, action, showtime, and give us performance irrespective of how you're truly feeling as it relates to the criticisms, etc.
Let's go back to the start. Remember, we fall in love with this thing. So it wasn't about we're doing this for money. Of course, money came, but is our affair or love affair with the art form. I myself love to laugh. I don't watch a horror movie. You never get me in front of a horror movie. I don't watch them. Comedies, romantic comedies, action, adventure. So when I laugh, I beat the ground, I roll, I make sound. I mean, trust me. So it's our love affair with laughter, you know, because the point is, I remember I heard, I think it was Beanie Man on an interview with him say, if we weren't a DJ, what else would you do? I'm saying, what? Like, you know, there's nothing else for him to think about, you know? So the truth is that because of our love for what we were doing, I think that kept us pushing on over and above. And we realized too, I must share a quick story. When I was performing, hosting inside a nightclub years ago, Asylum, there was an artist on stage that the crowd was saying, boo, come on for that. I'm so hold on, man, come on, boo. And he was singing a song that I didn't like. Then he changed the song to a different song, the same person. If you see the action, let me show the action. If you see the action, for those who are listening cannot see the action. The same person who was cheering on, putting his hand in the ear. You know, Jamaicans have this kind of finger.
Brap, yeah.
Brap finger. The same and was the same and was waving off the artist. But the same and he used to say brap. You see, it just transition from waving off to brap. So the point is, they are fickle sometimes. So you have to keep pressing, keep moving past whatever the moment is to get to the point. Because remember, change is the only constant. So you have to continue pushing. And that's what I think we did and have done. You just keep pushing. And I think over time we realized that people got it. They knew what we were about. And we got it too. We realized that put your best out there and then leave the rest to the public to decide. Just make sure you put in your best, your characterization up, your script there. You really put your creative best out there. Don't shortchange. And then when you put it out there, then you allow them to talk. I hear, I think Buju Banton said that he didn't know that Driver would have been a big hit. Driver, don't stop you. He thought it was some other song that he sang. The point is, you don't know. You put the creative work out there.
What they'll gravitate to.
What they'll gravitate to. So the truth is, yeah, we could never say that they weren't frustrating moments for us. Yes, it was tough. But when we got past 5, then we did 6, 7. Now we got to 100 episodes. And then person said, go further. And my friend of mine,
Yeah,
was saying,
wow.
go further, man.
You know, IT, you also mentioned that when you started, you and Fancy Cat doing your thing, the social media wasn't around, so you had to do a lot of things, the harder way, no smartphone to hold up to your face and that sort of thing. But with the advent of social media, it has also produced a lot of comedians in the space and across their varied platforms. Have you considered the short form content that would be ideal for social media, allowing your fans to have IT and Fancy Cat on demand then?
Because our production was in skit form, sketch form, so we had 3 to 4 minutes, and then we were able to take subsets, parts, portions, segments from our show and just upload, particularly on YouTube, upload a skit or 2. So that would work. But the truth is, when we look around on the social media comedians, so to speak, it's a different approach, a different art form. And the challenge with them is that, we were on a show, I think Love and Harmony, Barry Salmon and thing.
I was there too.
You remember
I was there too. And that show, I was saying, look, they allowed IT and Fancy Cat to perform first. And boy, I felt terrible for the person who followed because you left them in a ditch.
Yes. So the thing about it is that whilst we were good on recording stuff, we could record us in makeup and, skits and sketches and things, we were also practiced live. People forget that, we are practiced live. We're doing live stand-up comedy from way back. So to go on stage and engage an audience, we were, so I think that's the thing I always say whenever I talk to them. I went and gave a talk to a reality show recently aired. I think it's 876 Roommates, let me get the name correct. And I went to share with them, and they were all social media comedians, and they brought me in to share with them, my own experience. And that's the point I was trying to make to them, to share with them the structure of going on stage live. Because when you stay behind the camera and you edit and think and you put it out, you don't know. You have to watch the comments and see if it was well received. But when we're on stage, it's live. Whatever I say is one take. We can't say, let's do this again. It's one take. So that's what I find is a challenge with the social media comedians. And I must say, I'm happy that I'm part of the school where we were able to do both. We need to continue to be adept at adapting to the space. And that's something I say often, we have to be adept at adapting to the space, because as the space changes, we have to fit ourselves in the space, because persons still want our brand of comedy. They still want to see us in this space, So we have to find ways to activate, as you mentioned, some shorter the short form comedy on the spaces,
Snippets.
So that you can see us on the. Right. I don't think we've done enough of that, So you can see us on the TikTok and the IG.
Yeah, man.
Much.
I definitely think it will blow the IT and Fancy Cat show to a next level, because with what TikTok is, it is impersonating and mimicking, and you have done so many hilarious things as a duo that once you put it on these various platforms, you would be amazed to just see every day you are likely to go viral with the type of content that you have produced. But taking it back to when the conversation started and you spoke of how your mom placed so much emphasis on education, and you yourself, I was watching an interview with you and you said that learning is valuable. And with that statement, it is no surprise why you actually went back to school. But what was that experience like for you, attending UWI as a famous Jamaican, going in the classroom and being humble and doing it and being open to learn? What was that like for you? Was it scary?
Of course it was, it was the first time around. I was like, whoa, this is no joke. Let me repeat that, this is no joke. In fact, when I started and person saw me, they thought, hold on a second. People thought, I remember a student would say, she said to me, whoa, it's going to be a fun ride. You have IT in the class. It's going to be some fun. No. We learned quickly that, hey, it's not going to be a fun ride at all. So it was tough. I was surrounded by some brilliant students, my friends now, who gave support. You know, the university and the courses are designed to put you in groups, you know, to find yourself in a group. Just like the workplace. I said the person, when you go in a workplace, Kishima, you are here working, you have a producer who works with you know, you don't do this by yourself, you know. And then, you know, of course, there are so many different persons to give you support, you know. And so I found myself in a good group where we had different skills. I remember we were doing a presentation and they needed to do some work on some transformational leader. And the one that they chose, I put up makeup and mimicked and impersonated the person that they wanted to do.
Wow.
And it was a talk about. We were saying, whoa, it's because they have IT in the group. But I didn't see that all I did was to represent artistically the transformational leader. But then the other students had to write, research, and put the information together. So we together, you know, put a presentation that was a graded
powerful machinery.
Yes, man, but because we were able to collaborate our different skills, you know. So that was an interesting experience for me. It was tough because, for example, maths. I never ever passed maths. I told you earlier I was a wordy kind of person. So I had, you know.
But how were you an accountant before?
Because people think that.
Did you do some stuff in accounting?
Yeah, but people think accounting
is mathematical.
No, it's not. It's arithmetic. So you do multiplication, addition, subtraction. You never need to do trigonometry and Pythagoras theorem and those.
Don't mention
scientific. You know what I mean? You don't need to do algebra when you're doing accounting. So people think that once you're an accountant, you're a mathematician. No, it's a different thing. You only use a portion of maths to get accounting. And the principle of accounting is found in double entry. No, it's not of doing maths. It's doing balance, you know? So I was challenged, but I had to pass. If I don't pass maths, I can't get past the first course. It was tough. I had to find a maths brain, and it took years, some 1 o'clock in the night, drilling, practicing. So it was tough, man. I remember I failed an exam once, and I had to go to the lecturer and meet with him to try and get to pass. It was rough. I was supposed to graduate a year, and one particular exam, it's called Quants and Stats. You know, it has to do with these scientific symbols and equations. It was tough for me. And I had to do it again. I had to resit that exam, and my graduation was delayed. So I had to press on. And there's some people that I need to know, you know. I could have given up. Because people said to me, I think you don't need a university. Well, you already know. You have established yourself in your field of endeavor. We know what you're about. You are. I remember I'd leave that university to go
you
to
have success.
Yes. So the thing is, you have to push on. So you talk about road to success. I had to hit the road from Love and Harmony that you saw me on, to come off at Mobile, to go back to UE, to finish and to attend a class, an important class. People say, I thought you were on a cruise. I say, yeah, I end the cruise abruptly because I had to come back to
be
class.
Here.
Yeah, I didn't want to, at the time. No, I had to do that at the time to ensure that I completed all my courses.
And people saw you on the cruise and wouldn't even know that, look, the pressure is on and so high. But the time is going by so quickly. But when you we know the IT and Fancy Cat show, as you mentioned before, it's a family brand
oriented, yes.
However, you know, how did your religious beliefs as a Christian affected like shows that you do and even how you conduct business?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, a very important question too, because there's no way that you can experience change without experience change. You know what I mean? So the good thing for me and for us is that our material was more family oriented. So I wasn't forced to lose the bulk of the kind of material I would do. And I would lose some stuff, you know, because I couldn't continue them. But for the most part, most of what I do. So interesting. I remember having a conversation with Barry Salmon on that same tour. I did it twice. And he was saying, it's amazing how I am able to still find myself in the space and to still be above board. No expletives used, no raunchy stuff. You know what I mean? As a Christian. And it's just the mercies and grace of God, I would say. to allow me. I still a learning experience for me. Still I seek me every day to guide me to say, Lord, of course, I want to be able to, whatever I do, to honor you. You know what I mean? To ensure that whatever I do, content that I'm embarking on, it's wholesome at all time. And that's tough. It's tough. You know, sometimes people
I remember when I heard... I remember when I heard you heard that, you are now a Christian, and I thought to myself, oh no, what will happen to the IT and the Fancy Cat show? What was the conversation like when you're talking to Fancy Cat about, your religious beliefs now? And did he at any point felt like, boy, this is the end of IT and Fancy Cat?
Yeah, man, definitely. He said it publicly. I mean, at my birthday, we were celebrating, I was saying, boy, I thought that was it, because how are we going to carry on? Because it wasn't like, it's the one thing, sometimes it's something that I have to mature into, to accept that it's the one thing that I have done that he has not followed me. He has followed me to do anything everywhere in the world. Once I'm doing it, he's there. But it's the one thing, which I think is the best thing. I don't think it's the best thing I've ever done. But I have to understand too, that this is different. This and faith is different for an individual. It's a personal experience, So it was challenging, and he said that. And it was a tough ride for us, because I would not be thrown on shows without him. So I'll be hosting gospel shows, big shows, Unity in the City at the stadium, you know what I mean? And he would be there because these promoters would want to build, to book Christians. So that was a tough and perhaps still a challenge for us, because as I continue my walk with Christ, then, there are things that we're not going to do together anymore. But suffice to say, here we are still performing. We just came back from the States doing some shows, gospel comedy, and some other shows. Gospel comedy, think about it.
That's awesome. Wow.
So the thing is, we have seen mine. It's a challenging thing, though. Very, very challenging. Because sometimes when we perform a part a lot these days, so you have an Ellis performer, and I do motivational speeches, and he does that too. He performs and when he performs by himself, he's more free to do whatever he thinks he's comfortable doing. But then when we work together, we keep the IT and Fancy.
There is that respect, yeah.
Yes.
Keep it sanitized.
Yes.
You are a husband.
Yes.
You're a husband and a father of 2 daughters and a son. What is the most fulfilling thing about being a dad?
Whoa, now that I have watched them grow to see who they are now, it's fulfilling to see results, because you don't know, never ever know what the children are going to become as they grow up. And that's perhaps every parent's fear, because we start this journey, parenting, guiding, nurturing, and you hope for the best in everything, that they do well in school, they come up to be, not antisocial, no antisocial behavior. They are good, upright citizens and things. They are decent. The normal thing that parents wish that their children. So the most fulfilling thing is to see that my children are grown and they are decent. I must say that. There are some decent young women. I love them and they love me. For my birthday, they made me cry because December 6th gone. They did a whole report on how they saw me as a father, a husband, a man of God, a creative,
wow.
A businessman and a friend, and also a person. And they broke it down and showed me. They made me laugh, they made me cry. It's something I said I was going to be straight up. I said, no, this is personal. It's been about 43 minutes and 15 seconds of our video. I remember the time.
Wow, that is awesome.
So that could not have been done.
Can I tell you, you're oozing with pride and joy. You're oozing with pride and joy. Yes. I see it. And, finally, IT, this is a really great conversation, and I'm really happy that you're able to share with us. And I know our listeners already. I'm watching the WhatsApp line and I see the messages coming in for you. But finally, right, for young people who aspire to get into comedy, what would be the advice from you for them, especially in the digital age?
Whoa, originality. Whoa. If you can find that space where you can be original, you know, then you have a kind of groundwork because, you know, the creative space is changing and there are a number of talents in Jamaica. Trust me, look around. Of course, now the competition is harder. So what you have to find is what is your competitive advantage. What's going to set you apart? What's going to cause you to be memorable? And oftentimes, it's not copying somebody that gets you there. It's being an original. It's finding your own self. What makes me different? This fingerprint here is not like anybody's in this entire world of nearly 8 billion people. Me alone have it. So it means there's something about me that I me alone have. Maybe find out one thing. There are some intersections, but find out one thing. When you find that thing, then focus on that thing, amplify that thing. Original. Be an original. When you're coming up with a comedy, try to find what you are good at, and then work at it. I tried singing, and I realized, no, that's not my thing. You know what I mean? I mimic and make joke about it. Even though I have singers, that's not my thing. I've spent my entire life trying to struggle over singing. I have to recognize that's not me. That's my cousins, my father, you know? Find what makes you different. You see the thing you mentioned about me? I like to mimic and impersonate. That's what people remember about IT. Oh, he likes to mimic persons. You know what I mean? He does a number of them. Find what makes you different and work on it. And never stop learning and practicing. You never ever. Usain Bolt was always trying to get past 9.58. Once he did it, the next thing was trying to beat that. He was always, until of course, you know, he's no longer there. And there's somebody trying to beat that now. Always trying to go for your standard. And that's it. And that's something that I learned even in marriage. I must tell you about my wife. I love my wife. I can't end this interview without saying I love my wife.
Yes, heights of your queen.
Yes. So the standard keeps changing. I have to keep learning how to adapt and to be good at even things that I'm not good at. I learned during COVID to learn new things, to be domesticated so I can cook a meal for her. I wasn't the chef. No. So the point is, be original and find what you can do and learn some new skills too. Learn some new skills. So to a comedian coming up, you watch in all the space and you're trying to mimic, you might get you into the door, but you won't get you to stay there. Because after a while you're going to realize, what am I going to, who am I? So if you don't remember anything that I say, just search for originality.
Wow, Ian, IT Ellis, this was awesome. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, originality, you have to be yourself. Guess what? Everybody else is already taken. Thank you so much, Ian, IT Ellis. This was awesome. Continue being great. Thank you.
Thanks, right.
It may only be another minute. It may only be another minute.
Blossom says, I laughed, I cried, I enjoyed this interview very much. When one door is closed, God opened many doors and also windows.
I'm growing up place, I never get no respect.
Harry says, what an informative and motivational interview. Big up yourself, Mr. Ellis. Ricardo Portier says, big up to Owen IT Ellis.
And it's so easy, fear you get a big tip or addicted to a victim.
This person said, good interview. RTS never disappoints,